All right, boys and girls, we're going to read chapter 8 now. Yes, I am sitting in my Tahoe because my husband, Mr. David, had to come and move lunches from Smithfield Middle School to Triple S. So he wanted me to ride with him. So that's where I am. All right, so here we go. Tucker's life savings. Chester Cricket was having a dream. In his dream, he was sitting on top of his stump back in Connecticut, eating a leaf from a willow tree. He would bite off a piece of leaf and chew it up and swallow it, but for some reason it didn't taste as good as usual. There was something dry and papery about it, and it had a bitter flavor. Still, Chester kept eating, chomping, hoping that it would begin to taste better. A storm came up in his dream. The wind blew clouds of dust across the meadow. They swirled around him in his stump, and Chester began to sneeze because the dust got into his nose. But he still held on to the leaf, and then he sneezed such a big sneeze that it woke him up. Chester looked around him. He had been walking in his sleep, and he was sitting on the edge of the cash register. The storm had been a gust of air that blew into the newsstand when the shuttle pulled up to the station. He was still choking from the dirt that flew around him. Chester looked down at his front legs, half expecting to find a willow leaf, but it was no leaf he was holding. It was a $2 bill, and he had already eaten half of it. He dropped the bill and leaped over to the cricket cage where Tucker Mouse was sleeping peacefully. Chester shook the silver bell furiously. It rang like a fire alarm. Tucker jumped out from under his blanket of the dollar bills and ran around the cage shouting, "Help! Fire! Murder! Police!" And then he realized where he was and sat down panting. "What is the matter with you, Chester? I could have died from fright." I just ate half of a $2 bill." Tucker stared at him with disbelief. "You did what?" "Yes." Chester, "Look." And he fetched the ruined $2 bill from the cash register. "I dreamed that it was a leaf, and I ate it." Oh, moaned Tucker Mouse. "Not a $1 bill. Not even a dollar bill and 50 cents. $2 you had to eat. And from the Balinese, too? People who hardly make $2 in 2 days? What am I going to do?" asked Chester. "Pack your bags and go to California," said Tucker. Chester shook his head. "I can't. They've been so good to me. I can't run away." Tucker Mouse shrugged his shoulders. "Well, then stay and take the rap," he said, and he crept out of the cage and examined the remains of the money. "There's still half of it left. Maybe we could put some Scotch tape along the edge and pass it off as a dollar bill." "No one would believe it," said Chester, and he sat down, still forlornly, holding the bill. "Oh dear, and things were going along so nicely." Tucker Mouse put his bedclothes back into the cash register drawer and came to sit beside Chester. "Buck up," he said. "We could still figure something out. Maybe." They both concentrated for a minute, and then Tucker clapped his paws and squeaked,
"Oh, I've got it. Eat the rest of it and they'll never know what happened." "Well, they'd accuse each other of losing it, and I don't want to make any bad feelings between them." "Oh, you're so horrible. It's disgusting," said Tucker. "Besides, it tastes bad." "Well, then how about this? We frame the janitor who cleans the station. I'll take the evidence over and plant it on his water closet. He whopped me with the mop last week. I would be glad to see him go to jail for a few days." No, we can't get someone else into trouble." "Huh, then a stranger. We tip over the Kleenex box, the glass, and the alarm clock, and throw all the small change on the floor. They'll think a thief came in the night. You could even put a bandage on and make it look like a hero. I could see it all." "No, the damage we would do would cost even more than the $2.
All right, so here's the picture. Can you see it? Chester is ringing the bell furiously and scares Tucker to death. Okay. Tucker had one more idea. He was going to volunteer to go over and swipe $2 from the lunch counter. But before he could suggest that, the top of the stand was suddenly lifted off. They had forgotten what time it was.